Welcome to Project 7R7. I just had a visit from my good friend Toronto Ted, my unofficial sponsor, and it's completely changed the vision I had for this particular project. Stay tuned. On the last update, I picked up a pretty nice set of wheels from Jay in Toronto. Hey Jay. Good price, but the tyres are completely shot. And there is damage on this one. I knew about this, that I wasn't ripped off or anything. I got them at a good price. Canadian Bubba wanted to see the damage. Can't actually see it. I would need to remove this paint to find out what's going on underneath. I don't know if it's bent or cracked or whatever, but that would need repaired. However, Ted reached out to me. You know Ted. Ted contributed a lot of the parts for the hot rod build. Anyway, Ted contacted me and said, here a set of tyres for me, 18-inch, that would fit those wheels. So obviously I'm not going to refuse that kind offer. So Ted dropped by today. Not only did he bring me new tyres, he brought me these. Tyres on wheels. Now I know what you're thinking, they're kind of modern, but this has actually changed my whole vision for this project. Fantastic tyres, Goodyear Eagle F1, massive tread, but I was absolutely blown away when I put them on the, next to the project. And I now have a new vision. I was kind of in limbo with the way, the direction I was going with this. But it's all coming together now. I had planned to just build the car kind of traditional like that, or that, or that. But there's no rules about how you design your car. I'm going to have to make all the body parts anyway. So my vision is kind of, if you can imagine if Batman or Darth Vader built a race car. Do you know what I mean? It's going to look something like that. So I'm going to have to do some rendering on the old computer, see what I can come up with. But I've got a pretty strong vision now of the whole flow of the car. Really quite excited to get started now. Okay, let me show you where we're at so far. Obviously not a lot has been done yet because I'm still at the collecting parts stage. But when people like Ted drop by with awesome parts like this, we're going to get started pretty quickly. So I'm thinking for these wheels, these can be my track wheels. Obviously you don't want pristine show wheels for a track anyway, they're just going to get ruined. So when the time comes, I can get a nice set of P0s or whatever it is for the track. And anytime I want to take the car on the track, I've got a whole new set of wheels. I doubt very much I'll be driving this car in winter. So starting at the rear, I've almost figured out how I'm going to attach my rear hubs. If you remember, they are very, very strange angles. We've got the lower join here, which is at 90 degrees from the hub. This join here is obviously not at 90 degrees. And then this third one, which is just completely wackadoodle. But, as I say, I've kind of figured that out. I'll do that all in a completely different episode of this project, because there's going to be a lot of calculations involved. With regards to the rear diff, I was thinking I was going to be bolting the diff up to a plate, but I did see someone who had a similar diff who had made a plate and the diff kind of sits on top, which I'd be a lot happier with. Okay, moving forward. I wanted to get my engine and gearbox bolted together so that I could size up the engine mounts and then work out, the alignment and where it's going to sit. But I don't have any bolts to attach the transmission to the engine because, I did a purge like 2 months ago and I threw out all my metric bolts. It's ridiculous. Home Depot didn't have the bolts. Brantford Nut and Bolt Company didn't have the bolts. They would have to order them in, and they're like $5 each. However, Duncan, the guy I got the rear hubs from, has offered me the nuts and bolts that I need. I just need to drive out to Guelph with a list, and he'll give me the nuts and bolts, which is brilliant. Thanks, Duncan. So I will contact him and get them as soon as possible, because until I get the nuts and bolts to put it all together, I'm stuck. I can't line anything up. So that's that problem kind of solved. Right, moving further forward. I've been trying to figure out the front suspension situation. It should be fairly straightforward, okay? You've got a lower control arm, upper control arm, they go up and down. So I needed the knuckles to go between the top and the bottom. The stuff I got from Kevin with the kit, it's all kind of mismatch. It's like the carrier with the knuckle is way bigger than the caliper that came with it, and the hub itself is a completely different stud pattern from the stuff I've got at the back, and I really want to keep the same wheels, the same stud pattern all the way around, like I did with the hot rod project. Talking of which, the easiest and cheapest solution is actually to kind of replicate the Crown Victoria front end, except I wouldn't be using the cross member. I would just be using the knuckles from the Crown Vic front, and then you've got nice solid front knuckles, brake calipers, carriers, and I know it works because it's been working on the hot rod for over a year without any issue, so I'm happy with that. And then I can just get a manual Mustang 2 rack. In fact, if I get a power rack for the hot rod, then I can use the manual rack from the hot rod, and then all I really need to get is the Crown Vic parts. Again, this is meant to be a budget build. The Crown Vic stuff is really cheap, brand new parts, really cheap, and then I can just work out how I'm going to make the suspension, the coilover, which would go from like here up to here. Boingy, boingy. So that's where I'm at with the front suspension. I really like how that looks. Okay, engine wise, I've still not touched the engine. Hopefully it'll be fine. I did turn it over by hand, and it seems to be turning quite easily, and I do hear a bit of compression, so we'll test that when the time comes. If I have to do a complete rebuild, that'll be a whole new thing for me, but I'm not scared. It should actually be easier than a normal piston engine. In case you didn't know, it's a rotary turbo. You probably know that by now. So that's where we're at. Again, nothing really much done. Still collecting parts. Talking of which, I got a couple of deliveries. So not exactly parts per se, but I did get a very nice handmade sticker from Canadian Bubba, aka Sean Murky. So that will be getting put on the big board of beautiful bastards. Thank you very much, Sean. And also, and this is embarrassing, someone sent me a book, and I can't remember who it was. It's been in transit for like 2 months. I've searched all my emails and I cannot find out who sent me this book. Please leave a comment. How to make your car handle. I'm going to be referencing this a lot. Now, it's quite an old book, as you can probably tell. The principles are the same. In fact, probably more applicable for the type of car I'm building. It's got reference to independent suspension, fixed axle suspension, everything. Lots of calculations to figure out, so thank you very much, whoever sent that. Please leave a comment, I really appreciate you. Oh, do you remember those rear calipers that I got with those hubs for the RX-7? Well, they're in here with vinegar, and they have been in here for nearly a week, so you'll need to see the results video, which I'll be posting soon, to see if vinegar actually worked to get all that rust off. Makes me want fish and chips. Well, that's it for today. I need to get my thinking cap on, get on a computer, start doing some rendering to see how this thing's going to look. Also need to contact Duncan if you're out there, and see when I can come and visit you and get those nuts and bolts, and we can finally get the transmission mated to the engine and start making engine mounts and transmission mounts, and it will start looking like a car. No, it won't, but it will be a bit closer to start looking like a car. You get the idea. Take care. See you in the next one. Bye.